Okay, so here we are in 4.5. 4.5, this one's going to be a little bit more tricky. And what's going to be harder about this one is we have a number in the front. That's how you know the harder ones from the easier ones. When you have a number in the front, if you look back to the last section, we never had numbers in the front. So when you have a number in the front, those are harder. It's basically the same idea. It just means there's going to be more going on. So what we need to do, so when there's a number in the front, what do? Well, I should say first, ask if there's a GCF. We always do that first. There's no GCF here. Everybody see that? In a minute, there will be some GCF problems, and we'll need to do. You always do that first. If there's something in common to all of them, like if 3 goes into all of them. If that was a 15 in the back, well, no, then the 16 doesn't work anyway. Anyway, if there was some number they all had in common or whatever, I would do that first. But there's not. All right, so let's go ahead. So when there's a number in the front, multiply front number to the back. So 3 times 5. You've seen this before. It's called the AC method, or it goes by other names as well. So 3 times 5, 15. So that's what you use when you make your diamond thing. So we're going to make the diamond thing, and the 15 is now what you put for the multiply. The middle is still the same, add to be 16, right? That's still the same, no difference there. So the only thing we've done different is instead of just grabbing the 5 and putting it, for the multiply, I took the front number times the back. That's the only difference. If you have a number in the front, you have to multiply it to the back number when you write it in the diamond thing. Okay, so now we do the normal thing for the diamond. What two numbers multiply to be 15? What times what's 15 and adds to be 16? 1 and 15. Yeah, they times to be 15. They add to be 16, don't they? Okay, now it's not simply, because you might think, okay, good, I got it, I'm done. Just put the 2 parentheses, x plus 1. Don't write this down, this is wrong. X plus 15. No, that can't be right, huh? Because if you FOIL that, if you want boom and boom, that's not going to go back to 3x squared. It's not going to make 5 at the back. That's not right, but it's close. We just have a little bit of tinkering to do. What do we have left to do? Well, basically, what you can do now is do that box thing I was talking about. Just make the big box and put the front number, the 3x squared, and the back number, the 5. And now, the 2 numbers that you put in the diagonal spots are these 2 that you got. Either order, 1 and 15, 15 and 1, whatever. This making sense so far? Now, they need x's, huh, because they have to make the middle. Does everybody see what's happening? These 2 make the middle, right? These 2 together make the 16x in the middle, don't they? And we have the 3x squared and the 5. Okay, and so now you just take it from there and fill in the top and the side. Can you do that? Can you figure out what goes up here, 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 and here? That'll multiply to be all those things. Give you a second, and then I'll finish it up. So what do I put right here and here? What times what's 3x squared? Yeah. Now, if I put the 3x here and the 1x there, I'm going to run into trouble, huh? Because somehow the 3x and whatever goes here needs to make 1x. Well, there's no way to do that, huh? So therefore, swap these, but you probably already did it right. 3x there, 1x there, and now I can figure out what goes here, because 1x times what makes 1x? Just 1, huh? Just a 1 there. Is that good? Now, what goes here? 3x times what will make 15x? 5. So 5 goes here. And double check the last box. 5 times 1, 5. Beautiful. See how that's making everything work? So, and what's the sign on all this stuff? Yeah, there's no negatives anywhere. So this is positive, this is positive. So therefore it's 3x plus 1, x plus 5. Or you could do it the other order. You could put the x plus 5 in the front, then the 3x plus 1. It doesn't matter. They're both good answers. They both would FOIL to go back. Are we good there? Does everybody see how that worked? So what's the difference then between this, the hard ones, we're in the hard ones now, and the easy ones. So the hard ones, you got to multiply the number in the front to the back when you do the diamond, and then after the diamond, you got to do the box. The answer is not just straight from the diamond. You got it, huh? Good. All right, let's try number 2 here. See if you can do the same thing. The first thing you should look for is the GCF, but there's no GCF, is there? First ask, is there a GCF? Is there something? No, 2 doesn't go into all of them. There's nothing in common. So take it from there. Front times the back, right? 2 times 5, 10, and then go to your diamond. Do the diamond. Several of these. So, okay. So far so good. So we just take the front times the back, 10. We put that for our multiply, grab the middle for down here. That good so far? Now really, maybe it'd be better if I'm trying to cut out some steps, but maybe I'm messing you up. If you just take the whole 2x squared, not just the 2, times the 5, the whole 2x squared times 5, that would be 10x squared, wouldn't it? You don't have to do this. And then minus 7x, if you really want to be completely formal, right? And then, what do I put here and here? That'll make minus 7x and multiply to be positive 10x squared. It would actually be minus 2x minus 5x, right? Those will multiply to be positive. 2 negatives multiply to be positive, and they'll add to be a bigger negative. Remember the difference between adding and multiplying, right? When you're adding, they just think about money. If you had a $2 loss and a $5 loss, that adds up to be a $7 loss. Adds up to be a bigger negative, right? But they multiply to be positive. So that way, why I'm showing the x's now is because that way you'll automatically end up with the right x's on things, if you want to do it that way. And now you can go ahead and just make a box. So once you have that, then you make the box thing. And how does the box work? Well, basically, the deal with the box is you're trying to put all of the original into the box. So the 2x squared, the first one, goes in the first box. The plus 5 goes in the last box. So the first one in the first box, the last one in the last box. And then the middle, the minus 7x, is going to go broken up into those 2 boxes. The middle into the middle 2 boxes. How so, though? Using this and this. That's why we spent time doing that diamond work, is because that tells us how to separate the minus 7. You can swap the order. The order doesn't matter. You put the minus 5x there and the minus 6. But you see how they together make minus 7x, make that middle? See how we really have put the whole 2x squared is there, the whole 5 is there, and the minus 7x is the other 2 boxes. We've got the whole thing in there, helped by the diamond work. Now, we just put in the top, like right here and here and here and here, whatever works to make all those things happen. Now, I noticed as I went around, some of y'all were putting the negative, because we have to do negatives. You only want to put negatives, if there are negatives, and there will be negatives on this one, on the back numbers. If you're going to do any negatives, only put it here and here. Don't put it on the front. Really, it's okay to put it on the front. There's nothing wrong with it. You're right. MathXL will give you credit. I'm just letting you know on the multiple choice exam, they won't put the negatives on the front. So you might have trouble. It's just not commonly, it's just a style thing. They don't usually do, they don't ever put it in that style. We never like negatives in the front, basically. So you won't see it that way. You might have trouble recognizing the answers. So only put negatives at the back if you want to match their style. So anyway, what times what makes 2x squared? So what if I put the 2x here and the 1x there? That won't be good because the 2 is never going to make the 5, huh? So I should put the, I should swap it, huh? I should put the 1x here and the 2x there. Does that make sense? And then 1x times what will make negative 5x? Negative 5, huh? We good so far? And then what times 2x will make negative 2x? Negative 1. And then double check negative 1 times negative 5 is positive 5, yeah. So there it is. So what is it? 2x minus 5, 1x minus 1. Either order, you could swap them. It's really, I noticed some of you all put minus 2x plus 5 and minus 1x plus 1. That's actually correct. You're actually right. I'm just saying they won't show it that way on the multiple choice. And Mathix will take it. They know it's right. But when we take our exam, the publisher answers that I put on the exam, they don't do it that way. So if you have this, you might have trouble knowing to grab that one. They're the same. So just put your negatives in the back. For some reason, we never like negatives in the front in math. It's just a style thing. There's really nothing wrong with it officially. Is that making sense? We'll do several of these, but so far so good. You're starting to get the hang of the harder ones. Questions I can answer so far? So with, we have almost some tricks. Remember what are we supposed to do? What should we do first on this one? Rearrange it, reorder. It's out of order, huh? So always do that first. So reorder. So I'll put the 15x squared, 9x minus 24. And then he has another issue. GCF. Remember how we've been talking about? Yeah, exactly. First GCF. You can actually do the GCF first, then the reorder GCF, whatever. Just get those two done before you go to the diamond. So yeah, what GCF, what do they all have in common? 3. So remember what we do for GCF always? We just do the one big parenthesis, and then we do the diamond and everything else from there, right? Because all the numbers are going to change. So if I put a 3 in the front, because 3 goes into all those numbers, 3 times what will go back to 15x squared? 5x squared. And 3 times what will go back to 9x? 3x. And 3 times what? Minus 8, huh? We good there? Now, that 3 that's, here, that will be part of the final answer. We just don't have to mess with it anymore. But it'll be there in the end. Now, just focus all your attention. Just pretend the whole problem is what's in the parentheses. Just do the diamond for that and everything for that now. Just forget about that 3 in the front. It'll be there in the end, but don't let it bother you. Just focus on the parentheses and do the diamond and the box and everything for the parentheses. For the 5x squared plus 3x minus 8. So first thing we reordered, we took out greatest common factor. You always have to do that. And that'll be like for next week as well when we do GCF. If there's something in common, you got to do that first, then you do whatever after that. So now, don't even worry about anything except this. Just pretend that's the whole problem. Just forget about all the other stuff. Just focus on that. Okay, and so what do we always do to factor 3 terms? Number in the front has to multiply the number in the back. That's the new harder part, huh? When we do the diamond. So when I do the diamond, I can't just go negative 8. That was the easier ones. If there was no number, remember those were the ones with no number in the front, like that. So if there's no number in the front, then there's really a 1. So yeah, 1 times negative 8 would just be negative 8. But in this case, we have a number in the front that's not 1. 5x. So 5x times negative 8. So I'm just going to do the whole thing. 5x squared times negative 8. Is negative 40x. So I know I got you started without the x's. You don't have to, but I'm just going to be thorough. So 5x squared times minus 8 would be minus 40x. When I multiply actually the whole thing, the whole front times the whole back. And then what goes here is always the middle, huh? Plus 3x, the whole middle. See how that's the whole thing in that diamond right now? It's the whole front times the whole back, and then the whole middle is right there. Okay. Now, what times what? Remember, it multiplies to be 40, adds to be this. So what times what's 40? 5 and 8. Use your calculator if you're rusty on some of those. 5 and 8. Now, how do the signs go? I made a catchy saying for you. Bottom bigger. Bottom bigger. BB, bottom bigger. So whatever sign is on the bottom, always, without exception, goes to the bigger every time. Make sense? That'll always work for you. Bottom bigger, bottom bigger. So plus 8 minus 5, right? Because that 8, oh, and they need x, don't they? Plus 8x minus 5x makes plus 3x, doesn't it? See how when I put everything in there, it all actually works out perfect? You don't have to like add the x's like they're some kind of Johnny-come-lately that wasn't really there. It really does work. It really is true. 8x minus 5x is plus 3x. And they multiply to be minus 40x squared, don't they? It is all right. Okay, now, how do we make the box now? The box, what we're doing with the box, I want to make sure it makes sense for you, is you're basically, again, putting the whole thing into the box. What do you mean whole thing? This whole thing. We're not looking at anything else, right? I want to put the whole 5x squared plus 3x minus 8 into the box. Put the first item in the first box. Put the last item, I can't even read that anymore, minus 8, in the last box. With his sign, that's his baby. You always take your baby with you, right? So the first one in the first box, the last one in the last box. And now, how do I do the middle in these two boxes? That's why I did the diamond. The diamond tells you how to put the middle in those two boxes, you see? So we're really putting the whole thing in the boxes, first into the first, last into the last, but the middle comes from the diamond pieces, huh? So that's going to be the minus 5x and the plus 8x, or vice versa. It doesn't matter which order. It'll work either way. But it's these two that make, and that is 8x minus 5x is what? What is 8x minus 5x? The middle. You see how that is the plus 3x? Those two together are the plus 3x. So we really did stick this part, and that part into those four boxes, didn't we? By following the lead of the diamond. Okay, and now we just make it work, huh? So how does it work? Well, going to need to put a 5x here to make these couple of 5 things, and an x there. So 5x times x is 5x squared. And then 5x times what will be negative 5x? Got to put a negative 1 there, huh? That good? Coming down here, going to have to be an 8, huh? 8 times x makes 8x, beautiful. 8 times negative 1 makes negative 8, beautiful. So just stick those in the boxes with their signs. So 5x plus 8, because there's no sign in front of the 8, and x minus 1. There we go. You could swap it. You could have the x minus 1 coming first, and the 5x plus 8. And make sure you have the 3 in the front. That 3 in the front is part of the answer, right, that we took out the GCF. That's there in the end. On that. Questions on that one? Is that making sense? All right. Let's keep practicing. Get more and more comfortable. All right. Let me help on the GCF. If I mistakenly looked and said, oh, 2, it's not 2, it's 4, huh? But here's how you know. I want to give you a way to know. If you did 2 and you just thought it was 2, you would go like this. Use your calculator, divide. What would tell me I hadn't got all the commonness out? What would tell me I'm wrong? Look at the 12, 26, and 12. What else do they have in common? 2. Another 2, which means I didn't really get all the commonness out. When you're done, there should be nothing left in common. You got all the commonness out. You took out the greatest amount of commonness. So yeah, it's 4, isn't it? So then just divide them all by 4. What is it? 13 and 6, like that. So there's your first step. First is always GCF. So do that first, and then let's take a look. Show. All right, so we know what to do now. Front times back, 6 times 6, 36. And then we do our diamond thing. We put, it's actually 6x squared times 6. I should do it right. 6x squared times 6 is 36x squared. 36x squared, right? They multiply to be 36x squared. And in the middle, minus 13x, they add to be, kind of getting scribbly there, minus 13x. Are we good so far? Right? So front times back, 6x squared times 6 is 36x squared. That goes in the top. What they add goes in the bottom. Okay, now what are our two numbers? What two numbers? So if you're not sure, use your calculator. Take the 36. Here's when the numbers get bigger and harder. Here's what you could do. Just go take your calculator real quick. 36, go divide by 2, divide by 3, divide by 4, divide by 5. You'll get it real quick. If you divide by 2, you get 18. Go, can 2 and 18 be my numbers? No way. They can't make 13. Then divide by 3, you get 12. Can 3 and 12 be my numbers? No, they can't make 13. Divide by 4, you get 9. Can 4 and 9? Yep, there it is. Ding, ding, ding. 4 and 9. So even if they give you like 180, you can find it with your calculator. Just divide by 2, divide by 3, divide by 4, divide by 5. You'll find the pair real quick. So 4 and 9. But what signs do they need? Now you've heard me say bottom bigger, and that's good. That's true. Bottom bigger, and these need x's, don't they? But that doesn't mean, so when I say bottom bigger, that's true. You can bank your life on that. That is true. Bottom bigger. But that doesn't mean the other one has to have opposite. He could have the same, or he'll vary depending on the problem. So the other one could be plus or minus. The bigger one will always follow the lead of the bottom, for sure. The smaller one, he could go either way, depending on what you need. Does that make sense? I hope I didn't confuse you by emphasizing so much bottom bigger and make you think the other one's always opposite. He's not. He could go either way. So he needs to be negative also, doesn't he, to make negative 13. But notice the bottom always does follow the bigger. That is for sure true. The other one may or may not. So see how that, so minus 4x and minus 9x add to be, if you lose $4, you lose $9, you lost $13. And two negatives do multiply to be positive 36x squared. Okay, so now we go from there. We're going to make our box. This is the part I really wanted to be more clear about, because this box is a little harder than the other boxes we've been. So, and I'm kind of new to the whole box thing, so I'm kind of actually, I just figured it out, so let me share with you what I figured. An easier way to do the box is, like I said, I don't normally teach it this way. So, right. So how do we put the stuff, how do we stuff the things in the box again? The front one goes in the first box. The last one goes in the last box. Remember, we're putting all three of them into 4 boxes by putting the first one in the first box and the last one in the last box. And then the middle two, they have to get the middle guy, don't they? By these two. That's why we did the diamond, to know how to separate the middle guy into 2 parts. Right? Either order, doesn't matter. I'll put the minus 4x here, the minus 9x there. See how they are minus 13x? They are the middle guy. See how we have all 3 of them in those boxes? First in the first, last in the last. All right. Now, here's the new part, the part that I just realized. Because this is a little tricky. Up to now I've just been saying, just do it, just make it work. Well, that's not always easy to do. Here's what I noticed. Is what you're really doing is factoring. In other words, like if you're wondering what goes here, just imagine if somebody gave you these two, 6x squared minus 9x, and they said factor, take out what's in common, GCF. What goes into 6x squared? What's the greatest number? What goes into 6 and 9? 3. And what? How many x's? Just you take the lower, so just regular x. That's what goes out there. That's it. It's factoring. I just realized that 10 minutes ago. It's just 3x. Okay, that making sense? Now let's do that for the next one. What goes out here? What goes into 4 and 6? 2. And can I do x? No, because they don't both have an x. Huh? Just 2. Now, as far as the signs, you'll have to make that work plus or minus. Is that good so far? Now let's do it. Now, how do you do the top? I'll fix the signs in a minute. What needs to go up here? What? Does everybody understand that we're basically lining things up like a big times table? You know what I mean? Like, remember when you were a kid and you had these big times tables to help you to learn? The teacher would do this, and then you would learn times tables. You'd fill them all in. You'd go, what goes here? 2 times 3, 6. 2 times 4, 8. 2 times 5, 10. Yeah, it's a 10. Right? That's all I'm doing, right? Everybody see that's all I'm doing with a box. I'm just lining up rows and columns, rows and columns. So I'm basically saying whatever goes here, it's got to go boom and boom. Whatever it is, and 3x has to make 6x squared. What times 3x? Makes 6. Yeah, so once you get the sides here, I think the tops are easy. But I just go, well, that's got to be 2x. 2x times 3x makes 6x squared, right? And then what goes back here? 3x times what makes negative 9x? Negative 3. Okay, now come down here and I'll double check the signs. I don't have them right yet. 2 times 2x to make negative 4. He's got to be negative, doesn't he? Does that make sense? And negative 2 times negative 3 does indeed make plus 6. So there it is. So what's the final answer? Don't forget about that 4 in the front. And then 2x minus 3, 3x minus 2, or vice versa. Does that make sense? So for the table, at the end, again, first one in the first box, last one in the last box. The other two are the diamonds, right? And then just factor. Just take out what's in common, take out what's in common. And I think, like I said, I'm kind of learning this as I go with you. I think if the front one's negative, you'll just put negative on that guy. I think that'll always work. We'll see. Let's try a couple more. But I think that, just to make life easy, I think if there's a negative here, you just pop a negative there and that'll always work.
I figured that if there's like a negative, in, like, I put the numbers where the diamonds are.
Yeah.
4 and 9.
Here and here.
If there's like negatives, they just follow it outside.
Follow it outside.
Like negative 4.
Yeah. Oh, and then this negative goes right there, you mean, and this just follows it that way. Yeah. I think you're right. Let's do another one and make sure. Let's try this one. What's the first step on every factoring problem? GCF. Does this one have a GCF?
No.
Well, not a number. But is there a letter they all have?
X.
Yeah, you gotta do that. You gotta do that letter. So first GCF. And it is just x, huh? So it'd just be 14x squared minus 33x plus 15. Yeah, so the rest is normal now. So that x will be there in the end with whatever we get in the two parentheses, right? So take it from there now. So you're going to get big numbers this time, huh? 14 times 18, that's something big. You're going to want to use your calculator, unless you're just like a walking times tables. You're going to want to use your calculator. Remember, take that number. What is 14 times 18? 252?
Yep.
252 x squared. So front times back, 252 x squared. So I multiplied those to get 252x squared. So yeah, I don't know what that is. Don't say it out loud. Give everybody a chance to find it. But yeah, just use your calculator. And what do I mean about how you use your calculator? I mean, take that 252, take 252 and divide by 2, divide by 3, divide by 4, divide by 5, divide by 6, divide by 7. And every time you get a number, ask yourself, can those two numbers somehow make the 33 by adding or subtracting? Just how are we doing? So when you divide with the 2, like I said, I'm not the fastest, so I don't know. Is this like 120, 126? So that can't be it. 3, what's 3? 84? 240. So that's not it. Divided by 4 is 63. That's not it. Divided by 5. 5 doesn't even work, huh? Divided by 6, it's 42. That's not it. Divided by 7. Does 7 even work? 7 doesn't even work. Divide by 8. Oh, 8 doesn't work. What'd you do? You divide by 9. Does 9 work? 9 works, huh? Oh, it's hard. Okay. So 9, I'm going to keep it, is 928? 180 and 70. Yeah. And divide by 10 doesn't work. 11 doesn't work. And then 12, and what'd you say 12 and? 21. You guys all got it already. All right. Yeah, see, that's as bad as it's going to get. So you just keep dividing by 12 and 21. Yeah, that can do the 33, huh? So you see how we found that? Just keep dividing. A bunch of them don't work. Like 7 doesn't work if you divide. When it says doesn't work, it means a decimal, right? It's not clean. So every time you divide, just start with 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Every time you divide, that's an option. You're trying to make the 33. 12 and 21 is your pair. So 12 and 21. Put them over there. Now do the right sign. You know one of the signs automatically. Bottom bigger. Every time. Bottom bigger. They need X's. What's the other sign? It's got to also be negative, right? If you lose $12, you lose $21, you lost 33, and two negatives multiply to be positive. All right, let's finish this one up. So we're ready to make the box. Let me get all this stuff out of here. 12 and 21. We'll make the box over here. Okay, so remember, we put these three things in the box, don't we? So we're going to go first one in the first box, last one in the last box. And then how do we put the middle into these two boxes? The diamond. That's why we did that whole diamond thing, because that tells us how to separate the middle into two boxes. Either order doesn't matter. So I'll go minus 12x here, minus 21x there, or vice versa, doesn't matter. Remember to put the x's on them, though. That's important. Okay, so now, with all that, now let's do the factoring thing we were talking about. So I'm going to put out here whatever this guy and this guy have in common, like what goes into both of them. What's the biggest thing that goes into 14 and 21? 7. You use calculator for Rusty. And then what do you do for letters? You always take the lower, because that's the greatest amount they have in common. So you look at x squared and regular x, take the lower. As I looked across. Now, same thing here. Look sideways at these guys. What goes into 12x and 18? 3. Oh, 6. Yeah. Yeah, get the grade. 6. Just testing you, right. 6. 6. And when there's a minus in the front, it always goes in the front. Right? That was Maria. Maria, that's the Maria method. I like it. It works. So the Maria observation. Whatever sign's in the front, just pop it out there. That's working great. All right, now, you can just do the same thing going down if you want, as we did sideways. Like, what if 14 and 12? What goes into 14 and 12? 2. And I do x because that's the lower, going down, right? You always take the lower amount of x. Going down to 2x. And then looking down at this and this, what goes into 21 and 18? 3. And do I take an x? No, because this one has no x. You take the lower amount of letters. That one is, and it's got to be negative by the Maria method. Boom, right there. If the negative's in the front, just pop it out. There's my answer. It's this and this, huh? 7x minus 6, 2x minus 3, or the other order. Questions?
No, I actually found out another way how you can get the signs and everything, because you know that the end is always a positive. So you know they're going to be two negatives make a positive.
Oh, yeah, because, if you know this last one's positive, and the middle's negative.
And then the x square, you know both of those on the beginning are both going to have an x on it.
Yeah, exactly. Good, Miranda. Exactly right. Good. All right. Let me make sure.